Amazon just did their 20-for-1 stock split on June 6 for the first time since 1999. Google also announced for 20-for-1 stock split that's going to take place after the market closes on July 15th. And Tesla just announced its intent to split the stock to 3-for-1 for the second time in 2 years. So what does it mean when the stock price splits? Does it mean that Amazon and Google stocks become cheaper? Yes, the price of the stock becomes cheaper, and let's say at the time of the split, Google's share price is $2,000. Then after the 20-for-1 stock split, it would become $100 per share, and because 2,000 divided by 20 is 100. But does a stock split for these stocks like Amazon, Google, and Tesla change the market valuation? Just because the stock price is cheaper, it doesn't mean the stock is undervalued. If you're brand new to my channel, my name is Sai and welcome. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how a stock split works and how stocks generally perform after the split. And I'm also going to go over Amazon and Google stocks and how I value their stocks after the split. And in full disclosure, I do own Google in my portfolio. Nothing I say in this video should be considered any financial advice. Just pinky promise me that you will do your own research before you buy any stocks. Pinky promise me. Tesla's 3-for-1 stock split proposal is the most recent news. So a stock split is more psychological for the smaller retail investors like you and me. As the stock gets more expensive, many retail investors would feel like they can't afford to buy it. And we're not institutional investors who have millions or billions of dollars to invest, right? When an average investor looks at the Google stock for $2,000 a share, Amazon at $2,000 a share, or Tesla at $700 a share, that's a lot of money if you don't have tens of thousands of dollars of cash on the sideline to invest it. So it would be more attractive for retail investors to buy Tesla at $230 a share instead of $700 a share who don't make as much money as hedge fund investors. It would be more attractive for you to buy Amazon for $100 a share instead of $2,000 a share, right? Let's say you own one share of Google and it's worth $2,100, and the 20-for-1 stock split will happen after the market closes on July 15th. Google has three classes: Class A, Class B, and Class C. Class A and C shares are listed in public markets, while Class B shares are exclusively owned by the company's founders and board of directors. Class A shares are the ticker symbol GOOGL that have voting rights, whereas Class C shares, ticker symbol GOOG, don't have voting rights because they're typically held by the Google employees. If the share price remains the same at $2,100, then after July 15th, the price will become $105 per share. And if you have one share of Class A stock, then you'll receive an additional 19 shares or have 20 total shares. If you have, let's say, 5 shares before the stock split, then you'll have 100 shares of Google. And another common question I get is if you have to pay taxes on the additional shares you receive as the result of a split stock. The answer is no. And this is straight from the IRS website. Stock splits do not create a taxable event. Your cost basis for the stock does not change. Take a look at this pie, for example, and this is your entire one share of Google stock, and just divide this pie into 20 slices, and that gives you 20 slices of this one Google pie, right? And that's what a stock split does. And the market cap doesn't change, and your cost basis doesn't change. If you bought Google for $2,200 a share, then your cost basis is $2,200, right? And after the stock split, your cost basis is now $110 for 20 shares. So you do not pay any taxes until you sell the stock. By the way, if you're someone who's always writing emails, working on school papers, or building a resume for your next dream job, you should check out Grammarly. Grammarly can proofread your writing and save you so much time and make your writing look professional. I've been using Grammarly Premium since 2018, and it saves me so much time from having to proofread my emails. I also use Grammarly to proofread my resume, which got me a job paying 6 figures in salary. You can get the free version of Grammarly, and I will put my affiliate link in the description below. Right after the stock split happens, like Amazon, you need to be careful during your research with the EPS and the PE ratio, because that information doesn't get updated for a while depending on the stock market app you use. Amazon, for example, their trailing 12 months of EPS was still showing $41, which was the pre-stock split EPS. So the PE ratio was showing 2.5 or 3, which doesn't look right at all. If you see this, then you'll need to manually calculate your EPS. And for Amazon, you can divide it by 20 because of the 20-for-1 stock split. The diluted EPS for the trailing 12 months that ended in March 2022 for Amazon should be around $2.07. Basically, it's Amazon's net income divided by the number of shares outstanding. If this is still confusing to you, then you can schedule a free one-on-one 20-minute financial coaching session by visiting firesightchat.com/coaching. When you research any stocks and you notice a big drop in EPS from one earnings report to another, you need to find out if there was a recent stock split. And when Amazon's Q2 earnings report comes out, you're most likely going to see a significant change in their EPS because their numbers are going to be based on the 20-for-1 stock split. And we're going to see the same thing with Google's 20-for-1 stock split. Now, let's take a look at how stocks have historically performed after the split. So historically, stock splits can be very profitable for existing investors because, again, the cheaper stock prices are attracting more retail investors. According to the study done by Bank of America, companies that do stock splits are typically up 25% a year later. We might see a different story here in 2022 due to the extreme fear in the stock market. Investors see stock splits as a sign of confidence in the company's management because they might have more momentum to push the stock price even higher. Please keep in mind that not every stock split will result in a gain. Some stocks do perform negatively 12 months after the split. It's not necessarily because of the stock split, but possibly due to poor earnings or other catalysts in the market. Let's look at Tesla stock when they announced their 5-for-1 stock split in 2020. Tesla's stock price was almost $500 a share in September 2020, and then it dropped to $370 just a week later. By the end of 2020, the stock price went to $705 a share, and the price went as high as $1,200 a share by November 2021. As I'm recording this video in June 2022, the price has come down to about $660 a share, which is at the July 2021 price level, which is still pretty good at 32% gain, right? If Tesla splits its stock again to 3-to-1, then the stock price would go from $660 a share to $220. The market cap would remain the same at $686 billion, and the EPS would drop to $2.46. The PE ratio would still be around 89, and Tesla is a stock I believe will continue to grow over the next 10 years as they dominate the EV industry. If my revenue and EPS calculations are correct, then they should be a $3 trillion company or about $3,300 a share in 10 years. This is my bullish thesis on Tesla, and I encourage you to do your own research and come to your own conclusion. Amazon, on the other hand, just completed its stock split on June 6. Amazon hasn't been performing well in the market, and not only because they're losing money to Rivian, which is the other EV company they invest in, but we're also experiencing an overall bear market in the US due to the Fed's raising interest rates to combat high inflation. Since the stock split, Amazon stock went from $127 a share to $102. That's almost a 20% drop, and it can be extremely discouraging to the brand new retail investors. Unfortunately, there's probably going to be more pain in the market due to the recent CPI data showing an 8.66% inflation rate, which is way higher than projected. And I don't own any Amazon stock at the moment, but if it starts to get to the $90 range, then I'm going to consider owning the stock in my portfolio. By the way, you can get our free fire resources by visiting firesightchat.com/contact. You can also check out the Fireside Chat shop, and I have all of my stuff on my bookshelf at firesightchat.com/shopping. Google stock is the other stock that's going to have a 20-for-1 stock split after the market closes on July 15th. I recently purchased about 5 shares of Google with a cost basis of around $2,150 a share. If the stock price is $2,100 at the time of the split, then it's going to become $105 a share. I would have a total of 100 shares with a cost basis of around $107.50 if I don't buy any additional shares before the stock split. The market cap will remain the same at $1.4 trillion, and I don't value the stock because of the split. And Google has Google Cloud and YouTube that will continue to grow in sales over the years. If the stock continues to drop below $2,100 a share or $2,000 a share, we're going to continue to load up the shares. Valuing a stock isn't just looking at the stock price. When I look at a stock like Google, I look at its market cap, PE ratio, revenues, net income, and so many other things. Their business model is rock solid with Android, Google, Gmail, Google Maps, YouTube, and so many other gadgets that people can't live without. And their Google Cloud business is growing way faster than Amazon's AWS, which made them $19 billion in 2021. I would not be surprised if they make over $25 billion in 2022, despite the economic slowdown. And I'm a fan of Google because they're growing at about 15 to 17% annually, while their stock price is at a near 52-week low of $2,100 a share. There's probably going to be a slowdown in YouTube's ad sales for the short term, but the creator economy is expected to grow by over $100 billion in 2022, according to the research published by Influencer Marketing Hub. And Google, Amazon, Apple, and Tesla all went through a stock split in the last 2 years to stay competitive in the stock market. Google stock at its all-time high was $3,000 or $150 after the split. When we get out of this bear market, hopefully within the next 6 to 18 months, I believe Google will eventually go back to the $2 trillion market cap and beyond, and stop paying attention to the short-term news and read the most recent 10K and 10Q on the investor relations website. You have to learn to be patient and have a solid understanding of the company's business model and its executive team. Here are some questions you have to ask yourself. Do you trust the CEO will continue to grow his or her company to the moon? Do you believe the stock is undervalued based on the current economic condition? Picking individual stocks is not for everyone. It's completely fine if you choose to invest in an index fund or ETF instead. Am I going to take advantage of a stock split? Absolutely, as long as I believe in the company's future growth. And however, keep in mind that just because the stock price is cheaper, it does not mean it's at a fair valuation. And Amazon, Google, or Tesla could continue to see a downtrend in the short term as we see more fear in the market. You have to be able to stomach the short-term losses if you believe in the company long-term. Again, this is not financial advice, and I want you to learn to research the stock on your own and make your own decisions, not because I'm doing it. But if you want to know more about how we invest for our fat fire, be sure to check out these 2 videos. So with that said, I appreciate you watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.